Now for global business updates, Rotus Oddiri joins us. Good morning, Rotus.
Good morning, Dr. Batsi. Good to see you again. Good morning, Vimbai. Good morning, Rufai. Good morning, all our viewers out there. I'll be beginning with oil. Oil prices, same story. They remain under $70. Brent, $69.91, right there. West Texas, $66.60. Again, Nigeria's benchmark, 75. You need oil to be about 80, 85, maybe 90 or more. Same for Saudi Arabia and all the others. Natural gas down. Asian markets, they've been on 3-4 days of losses now, stretching back to last week, but kind of mixed this morning. Shanghai Composite Index was up, Hang Seng was down, Nikkei in Japan was up, Nifty in India down, ASX 200. I think that one has even fallen into correction territory in Australia. That was down by 1.32. Kospi was up. So what is the latest? I mean, there's so much of these tariffs, it's hard to keep up, but the 25% tariffs take effect today. Trump threatened 50% when Canada said they would increase tariffs on electricity to Michigan, New York, and I think Minnesota. Howard Lutnick and the other guy in Canada, his equivalent, they decided to talk. They backed away from that. But these tariffs still take effect, right? Now, the EU, just this morning, when you three of you went on air at 8 o'clock, von der Leyen gave a quick press conference saying that the EU is going to retaliate with their own reciprocal tariffs to the tune of about 26 billion euros worth of goods coming in from the US effective April the 1st. She says there's still room for negotiation. So, so that was this morning. And then if you now look, I think we have a chart on. So even though Trump said that he won't put tariffs on Canada, you can see that U.S. 2024 steel imports, this is according to the U.S. Census Bureau, who is number one? Canada, the U.S. imported $11.2 billion worth of steel in 2024 from Canada. Mexico is in second place. So even though he's saying that he won't put those initial 25% tariffs on Mexico, it's still going to fall on Mexican steel exports to the U.S. Third place is Brazil, tied with China, $5.2 billion. You've got Taiwan, South Korea, Germany, Japan. Remember, Nippon Steel wanted to buy U.S. steel. Stocks have been reacting to this. Then you got India and Vietnam in 10th place. Then you go to aluminum, because there's also 25% on aluminum. Again, Canada is far and away ahead of everyone else in terms of how much aluminum the U.S. imports from the rest of the world. So 9.5 billion from Canada in 2024. Then you've got the UAE in second place at 1.1 billion. Then you've got Mexico, South Korea, China. You've got Bahrain at 448 million. You've got Argentina, Javier Milei, Trump's friend, is there. Then you've got South Africa, Australia, and India. So these are, at least as far as the top 10 is concerned, these are who will majorly be impacted by those tariffs from the U.S. Meanwhile, so a couple viral videos. Steve Leisman, who is a senior economics reporter for CNBC, kind of went off the rails yesterday. I don't know if you can blame him. He essentially called Trump insane, but here's the clip.
I'm going to say this at risk of my job, Kelly, but what President Trump is doing is insane. It is absolutely insane. It is about the 8th reason we've had for the tariffs, and now he's saying he's putting 50% tariffs on Canada unless they agree to become the 51st state. That is insane. There is just no other way of describing it. And the trouble, Kelly, is that it shows there are no bounds around President Trump. This is very different from the first administration, where there were people around him who seemed to, I don't know what the word is, but smooth over some of the edges now. And the other thing that's not talked about, Kelly, is what's going on within the administration in terms of how they're treating the Constitution and laws. I think all of that is bad for the attraction of capital. And the gentleman from Bridgewater is 100% right. We need massive amounts of capital if we want to fund our deficits, pay for the things we want to pay for, sell our bonds, and have high stock prices. And it seems as if this administration is doing everything it can to chase foreign capital away.
Meanwhile, in another viral video on tariffs, there was a White House press conference, and Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt decided to lecture one of the journalists in the room on how tariffs work and who exactly gets taxed, whether it's foreign countries or the businesses or consumers that pay the tax. Here's that.
He's actually not implementing tax hikes. Tariffs are a tax hike on foreign countries that, again, have been ripping us off. Tariffs are a tax cut for the American people. And the president is a staunch advocate of tax cuts. As you know, he campaigned on no taxes on tips, no taxes on overtime, no taxes on Social Security benefits. He is committed to all three of those things, and he expects Congress to pass them later this year.
I'm sorry, have you ever paid a tariff? Because I have.
They
don't get charged on foreign companies, they get charged on the importers.
And ultimately, when we have fair and balanced trade, which the American people have not seen in decades, as I said at the beginning, revenues will stay here, wages will go up, and our country will be made wealthy again. And I think it's insulting that you are trying to test my knowledge of economics.
Finally, round off with we round off with Ghana. Ghana's GDP growth in the fourth quarter kind of slowed to 3.6% from 7.2 in quarter three. If we take a look at, I think the annual growth 5.7, which was higher than what it was in 2023 at 3.1. Ghana's economy very much like Nigeria. If you look at the largest sectors as far as share of GDP, of course, it's services, industry, agriculture, and then we look at the sectors that expanded. It was information and communications and construction, transport, storage, manufacturing, electricity, and trade. You look at the other side, cocoa, big contraction in cocoa, 21.4%. Weather-related, other supply issues, mining and quarrying was down, oil and gas down. That essentially is our updates for today.
Real quickly, I'll pick one topic. Axios.
Yeah.
To show you how, Trump is like a child. Fiddles. Fiddles. Press. On the 2nd of February, it says 25% tariff on imports on Canada. On the 3rd of February, it says pause on that. 26th of February, it says Canada will subject to tariff after pause.
Then rescinded it
Canada and Mexico goes into effect. On the 4th of that same March, he rescinds it. Says it's going to be adjusted. He adjusts. Then it comes again here. On the 26th, White House says Canada will subject to tariff after pause. Then he rescinds it again. On the 7th of March, he talks about it. Then he rescinds it again.
Back and forth. Then the 50% yesterday, then he rescinded it within the same day. Causing confusion everywhere.
After Doug Ford had talked back and said they were going to slam them. So it's like a child. It's playing A, B, C, D, 1, 2, 3.
But it's impacting markets, right? It's impacting
and it's distorting markets. And that's it. So there's no real leadership in America as we speak. And the other lady that blatantly lied. And you call yourself a White House spokesperson, and they're correcting you because you're making a fool of yourself. You're very dumb on television, and you cannot seem to understand it when they correct you. Please, when you have a tariff, it is the local company that bears the brunt of that tariff.
Or they pass it on to the consumer.
Tariff is, hurting your face to spite your teeth or something. That's just it. This is, God, I don't know the whack pack this guy's putting in here.
So, ultimately a tariff is supposed to deter you from buying from certain people.
Right.
Now, I think my concerns are around the delicate balance that one needs to achieve in order to protect their economy so that it can grow and thrive, whilst also ensuring that you create a stable environment. And this is something that every country goes through. If you look at Nigeria, for example, there's that time and time again example of food imports. When we're saying, let's close our borders so that we can grow our food, our agricultural sector and so forth. But sometimes it deters people who want to partake, invest or participate in that industry. It's a very delicate act. But ultimately, the one thing that we know for a fact that can never be contested is that business and economics and ease of doing business, investment, likes stability, likes predictability. Now, if you're going to take an unpopular stance on something, it's important that you take that stance and you stick with it and you run with it. If you're to rescind it, do so. But, that consistency and predictability is very important. So if you're telling the world that, well, America first, and America has all of the financial muscle to take care of all of our problems internally, we're going to invest in all of our own companies, that's fine, because we're also coming to the acceptance that this is the end of the American century. We've come to terms with that, right? So let's see how it plays out. Is he going to be, will history remember him as the incredible genius who changed a recipe and it brought great success? Or is he going to be in the Hall of Fame as one of the biggest disasters to happen? it's going to take some time for us to see, but the immediate reactions and shockwaves at the moment are just sending all of the wrong signals.
Yeah.
If I had just even $100 right now to invest in the American economy, I would hold on to my money.
Go to Europe. Look at Europe's market and China. Yeah, that's
also
what
having said that, some of the developments in the UK also this morning, Unite, which is UK's biggest union, is saying that, well, they're now lobbying the UK government to ensure that all government projects prioritize UK steel.
Right.
So we're seeing a lot of this reaction. However, at the end of the day, like I said, it doesn't matter if you make some unpopular decisions because you believe they will yield positive outcomes.
Yeah.
What's important is consistency, stability,
clarity,
and predictability.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, I guess I will bore a television audience if I talk about the theory and principles of international trade.
Of course.
But what we can say in terms of what you have brought up with regard to the United States is that President Trump has ignited a trade war. That trade war can only grow in scope and intensity, both within the borders of the United States and also with international partners. And this is what we have seen this week and before now. Now, during the elections, the expectation was that Trump becoming president will result in an age of prosperity, particularly for Americans. That has not happened.
That's right.
Now, last week, and even on Monday, Trump was saying, well, there will be potential disturbance, and that, the American economy is going through a transition. What is causing this transition? The fact that investors are now scared to invest. We've seen the effect in the cryptocurrency market. Now, we've seen the effect also in the stock market.
That's right.
The stock market is roiling. Now, S&P 500, which measures 500 companies in the United States, is in correction territory.
Exactly.
Meta, Facebook, Nvidia, all of them, they've gone down.
Yeah.
Even Tesla has gone down by 15.4%.
Yeah.
Trump says he doesn't care because he says this is temporary, there will be prosperity, this is American wealth. How is that going to happen?
Yeah.
That has also caused uncertainty across the region.
Yep.
And also in terms of what the Federal Reserve is going to do next.
Right.
Goldman Sachs and Moody and other economic analysts are saying that the Federal Reserve has no other option but to hold interest rates at the next meeting. So this is what Trump has done. Yesterday, the thing with Canada, Doug Ford saying we will impose 10% additional tariff, about $100 bill on supply of electricity to New York, Minnesota, and Michigan. Trump then said, we too will put 50% on steel and aluminium. Canada supplies 6.6 million tons of steel to the United States, 3.2 million tons of aluminium.
That's right.
Now, he had to draw back. And so, again, he seems to be in correction territory. So this is the uncertainty, and that uncertainty is not for anybody's good. The bigger question is that is America going to slip into recession?
Thank you, Doctor. Oh, thanks for that point.
That is the big question.
The next one,
Is he going to slip into recession? I would like to end it by saying that today we are expecting major inflation figures with the release of the Consumer Price Index result, by 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. And that result is going to say core inflation is now 3.2%. The other measurement, headline inflation, will be 2.9%. But that is still far from the projection of 2% by the Federal Reserve. Tomorrow, we'll have the produce price index, and that will have implications for what we see in the American economy.
Indeed.
All right, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for that update. We'll continue to watch the roller coaster as it rolls through the American economy.